Today, we are really diving deep into a fascinating topic, AI for developing nations. And to help us unpack this, we have some intriguing excerpts from Kerwin Joseph's book, Harnessing the Power of AI. I'm sure you've had a chance to look over the material, right? Some pretty thought-provoking stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It really kind of flips the script on how we usually think about things.
Right.
Like the whole idea of a digital revolution. It's not about those big, industrial factories anymore.
Yeah.
It's all about data and skills. Joseph really hammers home that point, and it really struck me.
For sure, that's a huge shift, and it seems like this could be a game changer for developing nations. I mean, does this level the playing field in a way that we haven't really seen before?
It really does. It allows them to sort of bypass those traditional barriers to economic growth and jump right into, the digital age.
And speaking of jumping in, what does that actually look like? I mean, if you're in a developing nation, how do you actually seize this opportunity? What does Joseph have to say about that?
Well, one of the things he stresses is the importance of practical skills over just theoretical knowledge.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just understand the concepts.
Yeah.
You need to be able to apply them.
Right.
So we're talking about coding, data analysis, actually using AI tools.
Yeah.
Those are the keys, he says.
So it's less about hitting the books and more about rolling up your sleeves and getting your hands dirty.
Exactly. And what's really exciting is that these skills, they're accessible to anyone with an internet connection.
Mm.
In theory, it really levels the playing field.
Really?
I mean, imagine a student in rural India having the same opportunities as someone in Silicon Valley, right?
Yeah. Wow. That's a powerful image, right? I mean, it really challenges that whole, narrative of a digital divide that we hear so much about. But let's talk about another divide for a second.
Sure.
The wage gap. Joseph doesn't shy away from that.
Not at all.
In fact, he kind of sees it as an opportunity, right?
Yeah, he actually argues that it's a huge opportunity. Think about it. Skilled workers in developing nations can offer their talents, those in-demand tech skills, at a fraction of the cost compared to, say, someone in the U.S. or Europe.
Okay, so companies can tap into this global talent pool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a win-win, right?
Yeah, it sounds like it could be.
He gives examples of companies already outsourcing AI development or data analysis to places like India or Nigeria.
Yeah.
It's cost-effective, and it gives those workers incredible new opportunities.
It's like, the rising tide lifts all boats kind of thing.
Exactly.
Okay, but I have to say, it seems like education is going to be crucial here.
Absolutely essential. He's very clear about that.
Right.
To really harness the power of AI, he says education systems need a major, major overhaul.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter how amazing these opportunities are if people don't have the skills to take advantage of them.
Exactly. You've got to have the workforce to support it.
Yeah.
And he's really, issuing this call to action to rethink education. Ditch those old curriculums, he says, that prioritize rote memorization and stuff that's just not relevant.
Right.
And instead, we've got to equip students with these practical, tech-driven skills, the kind of stuff they need to actually thrive in this new world that he's outlining.
It's almost like we're handing them a textbook and saying good luck when they really need a coding boot camp or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But let's shift gears for a sec, because I want to get into some real world examples here. What are we actually talking about?
Okay.
Where is AI making a real difference in developing nations right now?
Well, there's some pretty amazing stories out there.
Okay.
One that Joseph highlights is how AI is being used in India to really transform agriculture.
Oh, wow.
And you can tell he's really excited about this, the way he writes about it.
Mm.
Farmers using AI to analyze everything,
Everything, really?
soil conditions, weather patterns.
Okay.
Everything.
Wow. So no more just relying on gut feeling and the almanac, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're talking about apps that can actually tell a farmer the optimal time to plant.
Wow.
When to fertilize, when to harvest.
Uh-huh.
It's about maximizing efficiency and sustainability.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially in a place like India, right?
Absolutely.
Where agriculture is such a vital part of the economy. Less waste, better yields. That's huge.
Huge. And it shows how this technology can be used to address really fundamental needs.
Right.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, there's more. Okay.
AI isn't just changing how we grow food. It's changing how we manage money, too.
Okay.
Joseph talks about the incredible rise of fintech in Africa.
Yeah.
Specifically mobile banking, all powered by AI.
Yeah. I've heard a little bit about this, like M-Pesa.
Yes. Huge. He talks about that.
Yeah.
How they're using AI to analyze data.
Right.
To provide these financial services to people who traditional banks have often ignored.
Wow.
People who've been excluded from the traditional financial system.
Yeah.
Microloans, mobile payments, all through your phone.
That's incredible. Talk about empowering people. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's huge. It's like AI is helping to build a more inclusive system.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is really just the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
He goes on to talk about AI-powered diagnostics in healthcare.
Oh, wow.
Think about the potential there,
Yeah.
especially in remote areas
Yeah.
where access to doctors is limited.
Oh, that's huge. You could diagnose illnesses earlier, maybe even save lives.
Right. That's where this technology goes from, interesting to really life-changing.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't stop there. He touches on AI being used to streamline manufacturing
Okay.
with robots,
Mm-hmm.
even optimizing renewable energy production,
Wow.
making solar and wind power grids more efficient.
So we're talking about a potential revolution in pretty much every sector here.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a lot to process.
Yeah, it is. It's exciting, but it's also like, whoa, okay, how do we even wrap our heads around all this?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are some hurdles along the way too, right?
Of course, yeah.
I mean, it's not all going to be, sunshine and roses, right? There's got to be challenges when you're talking about implementing these kinds of transformative technologies, especially in developing nations.
Oh, absolutely. And to Joseph's credit, he doesn't shy away from the challenges at all.
Okay, good. So what does he highlight as some of the main roadblocks?
Well, one of the biggest ones, and it's a big one, is infrastructure,
Okay.
or rather the lack of it.
Right.
He talks about how in many developing nations, reliable electricity, consistent internet access, these are huge barriers to implementing these AI solutions.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially if you're talking about rural areas, remote areas.
Exactly. It's like trying to, stream the latest movie on a dial-up connection.
Right. It's just not going to work.
It's not going to happen. So he really stresses that need for, heavy investment in things like renewable energy infrastructure.
Yeah.
To create that stable foundation. He even talks about public-private partnerships as a way to,
Okay, so it's not just on governments to foot the bill for all of this.
Right. It's about getting creative, finding those win-win solutions.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So infrastructure is a big one. What else?
Well, even if you have the infrastructure in place, there's still the issue of, outdated policies and regulations.
Oh, right, yeah. That can definitely stifle innovation, can't it?
Absolutely. And he points to countries like Canada and the UK that have implemented these national AI strategies,
Okay.
providing clear guidelines,
Right.
Encouraging ethical development.
So it's about governments kind of like setting the stage.
Exactly. Creating that environment where investors feel confident, where innovation can flourish.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Now, I have to ask, whenever we talk about AI, one of the big fears that comes up, at least for me, is jobs. Right?
Of course, yeah. It's
Yeah.
a common concern.
Like a robot's going to take over all our jobs, that kind of thing. Does Joseph address that at all?
He does. He does. And he gets it. He acknowledges that fear.
Yeah.
But he really believes that education and awareness are key to overcoming that.
Right.
Like he suggests public campaigns, to really highlight the positive impact of AI. And he gives this really cool example.
Okay, what's that?
Rwanda using drones to deliver medical supplies to remote villages.
Wow. Okay, so you're talking about like literally saving lives with this technology.
Exactly. It's not just about replacing jobs. It's about solving these real world problems.
Right, right.
And in terms of the future of work, he really stresses, again, the importance of that early AI education. If kids are growing up with this, seeing it as a tool, understanding its potential,
Right.
they'll be less likely to fear it.
It's that whole fear of the unknown kind of thing.
Exactly.
The more you know, the less scary it seems.
Right. And, one of the things I really appreciated about this book is that Joseph doesn't just lay out the problems and the solutions.
Yeah.
He actually challenges us, all of us, governments, businesses, individuals,
Okay.
to be a part of this AI revolution.
So what does that look like? Like, how can people actually get involved? What can they do?
Well, he talks about, governments investing in those tech-driven education systems.
Right, right.
Businesses can implement AI in their own operations,
Mm-hmm.
support local startups.
Mm-hmm.
He even talks about, offering AI-focused internships
Oh, that's cool.
to train that next generation, give them that practical experience.
Yeah.
And for individuals,
Hmm.
well, we could start by, embracing AI literacy in our own lives.
Yeah.
And, even encourage our kids to explore this world. you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, get them coding, get them.
He actually challenges every reader, it's kind of a cool challenge,
Okay.
to personally get 100 kids engaged with AI.
100 kids. All right, that's
It's ambitious.
it's a good goal. It's a really good goal. It's ambitious, but it kind of drives home the point that this is important stuff, and it's not just some abstract concept.
Right, exactly. It's about shaping the future, and it takes all of us. And I think, the main message that he leaves us with, and I'm really paraphrasing here,
Sure.
is what if we stopped viewing AI as something to fear and instead embraced it
Okay, yeah.
as this tool for progress, a chance to build a more equitable, a more innovative future for everyone?
Wow, that's pretty powerful.
It's a question worth asking.
Yeah, it is. And it's a question I think we're all going to be grappling with more and more in the years to come. So as we kind of, wrap up our deep dive here into harnessing the power of AI,
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good place to leave it with that question.
Yeah, I think so too.
So thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep those minds curious.